you doing, brother? This is Comicbookman, and we're back in the video outhouse. Welcome, and we got, what do we got, Bo?
Bo,
what do we got? What are we doing? What are we doing?
We're doing wrestling news. Dude.
We are? Great.
Yeah.
Okay, first up, we got Kurt Angle. You dumb son of a...
No, what'd he do?
Tell the fine people at home here what Kurt Angle did. The dumb son of a... He knows what.
Okay, kids. On the 15th of this month, Kurt Angle was arrested for stalking his girlfriend, fellow TNA wrestler Raka Khan. Now, wait a minute. Now, this is a little less cut and dried as we think.
Yes.
They had a fight the night before. She got a restraining order. At least they say she got a restraining order. And then she went to a Starbucks the following morning, and she called the police and said that Kurt Angle was driving around the parking lot a bunch of times. Now, when Angle got caught, he said that, A, he didn't know she was in Starbucks because how would he know that since there was a restraining order? B, there may not be a restraining order, but he couldn't explain for the fact that his driver's license was expired. He was also caught with a couple vials of HGH, human growth hormone, which he says he has a prescription for, and it's been a week, so the cops haven't contradicted that, so we assume that's naturally true.
Man, you are a bad joke just walking around, Kurt. You really are.
Does he park in all the handicapped spaces?
Well, he got.
Yeah, and then he parked in the handicapped spaces, and then a cop drove by and he said, "Hey, pig!"
He bonded himself out of jail on $10,000 bond so he could wrestle at last weekend's Hard Justice pay-per-view.
I thought you were talking about Professor Kurt Angle.
No, not Professor. Now, as an afterthought, and this is something that's a little weird about this, is people at TNA really don't think that most of this happened because from everything I've read and everyone that I've heard, Raka's a little on the goofy side.
Were police involved in this?
Police are involved in this, and they didn't.
Then something happened because there's this written record.
Well, she says that she had a restraining order.
Well, it's easy enough to find out.
They don't know if they had a restraining order, and then as Kurt Angle's lawyer said, well, we're in Pittsburgh. Kurt Angle lives in Pittsburgh. Yes. How did he actually know that she was in a Starbucks? It's not as if all the Starbucks are open, so you can go, she was in a Starbucks. So this is a weird story, but with Kurt, this is like every day at the office.
Speaking of weird stories, Nick Dinsmore was supposed to have been rehired by the WWE. You remember Nick Dinsmore? I'm Eugene. Anyway, what happened? He's not getting hired after all.
Last time you saw Eugene was on the Raw. That was before the show on the Mohegan Sun hosted by that guy Jeremy Piven.
Oh, by the way, and in case any of you at home just walked in, you remember Eugene? There's nothing really wrong with him.
No, there's nothing wrong with him. He's actually quite sane.
Yes.
Nick wrestled on the air. He was the guy who wrestled the Calgary Kid, who we found out was The Miz. He was cut right after that because Vince McMahon thought he was a little on the chunky side, and he thought it would send the wrong message to the wrestlers. So Eugene is no longer working for the company.
Just because he's a little on the chunky side. There was
that
nothing
was
else?
basically it. No,
there was nothing else?
No, he was chunky. He was fine. He was chunky.
Okay, well.
That was it.
Don't be chunky for Vince. Don't be chunky for Vince. TNA and Spike have extended their deal. What have they done?
3 more years, more programming, including specials.
Specials. What kind
10
of specials?
Specials a year on, basically they would take an individual wrestler and they would give them an hour-long special, and they would run that special sometime during the year, and you would go, wow, that's a really great show. And they would also show matches on these specials that have never been seen on television before.
Does that mean Scott Hall get an hour special?
He wasn't there long enough to get any really good highlights.
Well, Kevin Nash is there.
Nash is getting
they're buds.
He's going to get a special, I would assume.
Okay. I hope they sing.
Tazz is doing commentary now.
Tazz replaced Don West on TNA commentary.
Yes.
Don West has been bumped up to basically deal with merchandising. Don West is not a big favorite of co-owner Dixie Carter. She didn't like his style on the air. She thought he was a nice guy personally, but she didn't like his style on the air. So now the announcing team on the show will be Tazz and Don and Mike Tenay.
Okay, wrapping it up. WWE Breaking Point pay-per-view. What's up with it?
Well, it was supposed to be an all submissions show where every match had to end in a submission. The WWE apparently came to the senses, and now only the main events will be that. They'll have that stipulation. So that means the undercard guys, the 5, 6, or 7, or 8 people who wrestle before you get to the main event, they'll be allowed to wrestle normal matches so that you won't be boring the living crap out of the crowd. That was stupid.
Does that bore the crap out of the crowd?
Yes, it does. Because most crowds go, is this a submission match? We don't get submissions. UFC fans get the submissions. WWE fans apparently are clueless.
And in case you're wondering how much we talk about this stuff ahead of time, watch this. You doing the review for SummerSlam?
Yes, I am.
Well, that means it'll be over at the house. So that's it. Comic Book Man says we're done with wrestling news. You
Yes,
done?
we're done with
I'm
wrestling
done.
news.
We're done. Stop off at the store's website, www.myalternatereality.com. Check out this video and the wrestling news all on the same page, so you can find them all in one spot. Until next time,
This is Bo.
bye! I already said who I was. Bye!